Hi guys, today we're gonna do a walkthrough for chapter 7, parabolas and other graphs. And this is your revision test. And for your multiple choice question, as always, in your method, if it's multiple choice questions, feel free to use your calculator. So I'm gonna teach you how to use both calculator and do it by hand, just in case some of you don't have your Casio ClassPad calculator. So the first question, the equation of the axis of symmetry for the graph below is the axis of symmetry. We're gonna find the line of symmetry first. And that's your line of symmetry, and it's quite obvious here. That's right in the middle of -3 and -1. And your equation for this line of symmetry is called the axis of symmetry, and that's x equals to -2. So your answer is B. You C, x equals to -2. All right, next question. Compared to the graph of y equals to x squared, the graph of y equals to -1/2 squared is okay. This question is testing on your knowledge on transformation. So y equals to x squared. That's the simplest graph for parabola. Something like that. Okay, y equals to x squared. Okay, and if it's half x squared, this graph will be expanded, which means it gets wider. Okay, let me use a different color. So this is something like y equals to half x squared. And lastly, you have negative sign here. Negative sign in front of that, that just means this has been reflected in the x-axis. So this parabola is called y equals to -half x squared. So we can pick E because it's wider and has been reflected in the x-axis. Okay. With your graphing calculator, this could be achieved easily by graphing both of them. So in your so you go to your menu and click on graph a table. Here, graph a table. Click on it. You might have previous equation, so go here and clear all. Okay, start a fresh page like this, and then I'm gonna type in y equals to x squared. Just click on x. Oops. Click on equal sign. You don't have to click on equal sign here. Just type x squared. Click on exe. So your first equation, y equals to x squared. And your second equation, minus 1/2. 1/2 is 0.5. So I'm going to type 0.5 x squared, exe. Okay. And these two equations have been ticked, which means they are ready. They're ready for graphing. So click on here. Okay, both of them have been graphed, but this is not drawn to, adjusted to fit the screen. So you could click on this equal sign. Okay, or use your stylus to move a bit here and make it, you can zoom out a little bit more, and you're gonna see this has been reflected and also became wider than the blue one. Okay, this red one is your new equation, and this blue is your original equation. Okay. Next question, the rule for parabola with a turning point 1,2 and a y-intercept 0,3. All right. So here's a graph for that one, for this. And the turning point form is y equals to a bracket x minus h squared plus k. And this h comma k would be your turning point. As shown, equating your coordinates, h comma k, the turning point 1,2, 1,2. That just means h equals to 1 and k equals to 2. So this is y equals to a bracket x minus 1 squared plus 2. All right. So that's what the formula. That's the equation so far. But we still have one unknown a here. But don't forget, we have one more condition. Y-intercept is 0. So at x equals to 0, y equals to 3. So y equals to 3. As x equals to 0, 0 minus 1 squared plus 2. Okay, and then we're just going to solve for a, because a is the only unknown we don't know yet. So 3 equals to a times, a times 0 minus 1, -1. So a times -1 squared plus 2. 3 equals to -1 squared 1. 1 times a plus 2. Therefore, your a equals to 1. Okay, take away 2 for both sides. A equals to 1. All right. That just means this equation is y equals to, look at here. Look at here. A equals to 1. So it's just 1 times something, you don't have to show it. So it's just write that x minus 1 brackets plus 2. Okay. Therefore, your answer would be A. Okay. Let me just double check if that's correct. Next one, question 4. The equation of this graph is, okay. The equation of this graph. So for this one, to get your equation, you could use your turning point formula again. This is the turning point. Turning point is 2, 0. And therefore that's y equals to a. Again, turning point for a bracket x minus h squared plus k. So that's your turning point form. And your turning point is 2, 0, which means h is 2, k is 0. So y equals to a times x minus 2 bracket squared plus 0. So y equals to a bracket x minus 2 squared. Okay. And then this question becomes to find a, the value of a. To find your value of a, don't forget your y-intercept, 0, 4. So at x equals 0, y equals to 4. Y equals 4. 4 equals to a times 0 minus 2 squared. So 4 equals to a times 0 minus 2 is -2. -2 bracket square, which is 4. 4 times a is 1. A equals 4 times 4 equals to 4. So a equals to 1. Okay. So therefore, your answer is y. Let me use a different color. Y equals to x minus 2 squared. Okay. All right. And you look at your options A, B, C, D, and E. The closest point is this one, but watch carefully. This is not x minus 2 bracket square. This is x plus 2 bracket square. Okay. So you could just expand it. X squared minus 2 times 2x, 4x plus 4. So the answer is B. All right. And of course, this one you could expand it by using your calculator. Main. So bracket x minus 2 squared. Expanded is just another way. Let me do that. You've seen simplified does not work, so you have to go interactive. Sometimes simplified can expand it straight away. Okay, so you do transformation and then click on expand. Click on OK. And here we go. X squared minus 4x plus 4. All right. Next question. The x-intercept of the graph of y equals to okay, x-intercept. So to find your x-intercept for any graphs, not just for parabolas, for any graph, you just need to remember you find when y equals to 0. So at y equals 0. So you are replacing your y with 0. 0 equals to 2 bracket x plus 1 bracket square minus 8. Okay, and you're solving for x. The solutions x are the x-intercept for your for the graph. So 0 equals to 2 bracket x plus 1 bracket square minus 8. Okay, that's your equation and interactive. So click on solve. So for x, and here you go. X equals to -3 or x equals to 1. Let me double check. Yeah, -3 and a 1. Okay, so your x-intercept is -3, 0 and 1, 0. B. Okay, so that's that one. And then question 6, the quadratic rule y equals x squared minus 16x plus 40, we're in turning point form. All right, to write this into turning point form, we need to complete the square. So y equals to x squared minus 16x plus 40. To complete the square, we look at your b. Okay, so for any quadratic, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. And this second term, the coefficient of x would be your b. To complete the square, you're adding a number. This number is half b. And your b here is -16. This is your b, -16. So half b is -16 over 2, which is -8. Okay. So you're adding actually half b squared. Okay. So that's x squared minus 16x. You're plusing half b squared. This is your half b. So you're plusing -8 squared and plus 40. Okay. All right. And let me try to move this to here. Okay. Just to get a bit more space. Okay. All right. And this one is just x minus 8 bracket squared. You plus this one. I forgot one thing. I made a mistake. You have to, because you plus the -8 squared, you have to minus -8 squared plus your original 40. And that's how you make this balanced, which means canceling each other out. So you have minus -8 squared, 64 plus 40. So that's x minus 8 squared minus 24. And therefore the answer is D. Okay, part B, for answer. Sketch graphs of the following quadratic relations, labeling the turning point at the Y-intercept. Okay, so this one, you could do it by hand or graph it by your calculator. So we're gonna sketch the graph. X squared is something like that. -x squared, it's reflected in the x-axis, and -4, which means it moves down for 4 units. Okay, so of course you need to use your pencil, so you can erase the irrelevant graph. So -4 here, and that's your y equals to -x squared minus 4. And we need to label the turning point. So the turning point equals to 0, -4. Okay, 0, -4. And your y-intercept is actually 0, -4 as well. Okay. You can write as that. You could also write as -4. So both write as coordinate pair at -4. This number are fine. Okay. Next one. Okay, that's your first method actually, and the second method just stick to turning point form. So this one is actually a turning point form. That's y equals to -x minus 0 squared minus 4. Okay, you minus 0 bracket squared, it's just x squared. So that's why your turning point is 0, -4 here. All right. Next one. This is in turning point form. Your A is 1. Your H is -3. It's x minus h squared. Ax bracket x minus h squared plus k. So your h is -3, and your k is 1. The turning point is here. Point equals to -3, 1. And find your y-intercept at x equals to 0. Y equals to 0 plus 3 squared, which is 3 squared, 9 plus 1, 10. Okay, 10 is about here, about slightly 3 times more than this length. And here we go. That's your parabola for y equals to x plus 3 squared plus 1. All right. Let me show you how to do this in your calculator. So in your calculator, go back to your menu, graph. You can untick them if you don't want to clear the page. And go to your y3, that's the new equation now. Let's say we're gonna graph the first one. So that's -x squared minus 4. Okay, and tick it. Be sure you tick it. So that's if you don't tick it, that's not ready. you take it, and that's ready for graphing. Okay, click on that. Okay, here we go. That's your graph, but you need to. This is not. Okay, let me zoom out a bit more because this is a little bit. The scale is okay. You can't see the number on the axis because I can click on resize to make it bigger because my okay, it's getting big enough. Okay, this is too close to axis and couldn't determine the number. So what you could do is you go to your view window and your Y. Look at this Y has been your Y minimum is negative 2000 or something. That's too big. Let's make it negative 50 and maximum is 50. Because my scale for my Y-axis was too big. That's why I make it very hard to see. Okay, now it's so much easier. But if you're only interested in your turning point, you can just go to analysis and G-sub. That's definitely a maximum point. Click on maximum, 0,-4. Okay, 0,-4. Here we go. We got the first one. Okay, click on my close it, and we can do another one. So bracket x plus 3 brackets squared and plus 1. Click on exe. So this turn it into the masked form. And again, click on this one. You have your graph here. So with analysis, G-sub, Y-intercept, 0,10. Okay, 0,10. So that's your Y-intercept. And that analysis again, G-sub, F minimum. It's quite small, but let me zoom in a little bit. My calculator got stuck, but okay. It's negative 3,1. But look at here, negative 3,1. Okay, let me do it again. Make it larger. All right. You could just read it from here, but to make sure you get the exact right answer, you could click on F minimum again, negative 3,1. Okay. All right. That's how you got this graph by using calculator and do it by hand. Question 2. For the quadratic with the rule y equals to x squared plus 2x minus 8, use factorization to find x intercept. The question has explicitly told you use factorization. I would expect you to factorize this first. So to factorize a trinomial, a monic trinomial, your first priority method is look at the last term, negative 8. You think of two numbers to multiply to get negative 8 and add it to 2. And 4 and negative 2 will do the job. 4 times negative 2 gives you negative 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. So therefore, y equals to x plus 4 bracket x minus 2. Okay, we have to factorize this. And the question is asking us to find the x-intercept. To find x-intercept, y at y equals 0. So y has to be 0. 0 equals to bracket x plus 4 times bracket x minus 2. Okay, so this question becomes solving for this equation. So what x value will make this product? It's x plus 4 times x minus 2 equal to 0. That's why we need to apply null factor law. So two options, x plus 4 equals to 0 or x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, either this part equals 0 or that part equals to 0. Therefore, x equals to negative 4 or x equals to 2. Okay. B, use symmetry to find turning point. This is your 2x intercept, and the axis of symmetry crosses the middle of these two x intercepts. So x equals to half negative 4 plus 2. That's how you find the midpoint. Negative 4 plus 2, negative 2, negative 2 over 2, negative 1. So the x coordinate for the turning point is negative 1. At x equals to negative 1, your y value find the y value, just substitute this -1 back to this equation. -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 8. So -1x squared, which is 1, 2 times -1, -2 minus 8, and that's -9. Okay, so this is your minimum, your turning point form, the y coordinates for the turning point form. And the last one, Sketchy's graph labeling the x-intercept and the turning point. So at x equals to -1, your y is -9, so -9 approximately here. And then your y-intercept, do we get our y-intercept before? No, not yet. Well, we've got our x-intercept, y is -4. The other one is 2. Okay. Labeling x-intercept, so we're still missing a y-intercept. Okay, we need to find a y-intercept. Oh, do you remember this? You look at your trinomial, the last term is your y-intercept. So -8 is your last y-intercept. Second, that's your parabola. Okay, all right. Question 3. And just speaking, feel free to replay the video or pause it. Okay, because everyone's got your own speed. You know yourself better. Question 3, for the quadratic equation with rule y equals to x squared minus 6x plus 4, complete the square writing the rule in turning point form and determine the turning point coordinates. All right, y equals to x squared minus 6x plus 4. So when you're completing the square, you look at your b. Your b is -6, so your half of b, equals to -6/2, which is -3. Okay. So that's x squared minus 6x plus your half b squared, -3 squared. You gotta take away your half b squared to balance it. So these two cancel each other out, and the plus 4. Okay, and these 3 will give you, this trinomial is x minus 3 squared, and minus -3 squared, which is 9, 9 plus 4. So that's x minus 3 bracket square minus 5. Okay, and that's your turning point form. That's the question 1. Just 1 is into turning point form. Oh, also, don't forget, determine the turning point coordinates. So turning point is h, k. H is 3, k is -5. Okay. Sketchy's graph labeling y-intercept and the turning point. Y-intercept is the last term, plus 4. And turning point 3, -5. Okay. 3, let's say, go back again. Let's say your 3 is around here, and your y-intercept is 4. So similar length in the y-axis, but slightly higher. And your turning point 3, -5 around here. So that's your turning point. Okay. All right. We don't need to worry about x-intercept for this question specifically, because it just says Sketchy's graph labeling the y-intercept and the turning point. It's got nothing to do with your x-intercept, so you don't have to work out these two. Part C, determine the coordinate of the point where the line y equals to x minus 6 intersects the parabola y equals to x squared minus 6x plus 4. So every time we are determining the coordinate of the point, we are solving these two equations simultaneously, because that's the point. The solutions is the point that can satisfy both of the relations. And every time you see this, just solve them simultaneously. Okay. Solve them simultaneously. You can do it by hand, because this x is the same as this x, this y is the same as this y. So you can replace this y with this x. Probably better replace this y with this x minus 6. So by hand, if you don't have a calculator, y equals to x minus 6 equals to x squared minus 6x plus 4. And, turn this into standard form. 0 equals to x squared minus 7x plus 6 for both sides plus 10. So 0 equals to x. We look at the last term, 2 times 5, x minus 2 times x minus 5. So x equals 2 or x equals to 5. Okay. All right. And then find your y. Your y at x equals to 2. So we have two scenarios, x equals to 2 or x equals to 5. At x equals to 2, your y equals to x minus 6, so 2 minus 6, negative 4. I would absolutely pick the first one, the first equation, to second equation. That's just because the first equation is easier to calculate. Okay. At x equals to 5, y equals to 5 minus 6, negative 1. Therefore, the 2 points are 2 comma. So at x equals 2, negative 4, so 2 comma negative 4, and 5 comma negative 1. Okay, let's use my calculator to check my answer. Main. So to solve simultaneous equation, go to Math 1 and click on this symbol. This is solving for x and y. So your first equation, y equals to x minus 6. Second equation, y equals to x squared minus 6x plus 4. Okay, and we're solving for x and y, so x comma y. Solving for that, and click on exe. Here we go. 2 comma negative 4 and 5 comma negative 1. Okay, here we go. 2 comma negative 4 and 5 comma negative 1. All right. Last question. Is the last question? No, second last question. Consider the parabola given by the quadratic equation y equals 2x squared minus 8x plus 7. Determine the y-intercept. For this one, it's just one more question. You can state it straight away. Y-intercept equals to 7. Okay. And let's add x equals to 0. So y-intercept is 2, 7, which is your last term. Use the discriminant to determine the number of x-intercepts. So talking about discriminant is the Greek letter delta, and that's equals to b squared minus 4ac. Okay, and if this delta is greater than 0, 2 solutions. Delta equals to 0, 1 solution. Delta less than 0, no solution. Okay, so this delta equals to b is your negative 8 bracket square. Every time you're using a negative number, please put a bracket. Okay, negative 8 bracket square minus 4 times 2 times 7. So that's 64 minus 2 times 4, 8, 56. And that's 8. That's greater than 0. So that's greater than 0. Therefore, 2x intercept. The x intercept means the solutions. 2 solutions means 2x intercept. 1 solution, 1 x intercept. No solution, no x intercept. Part C. Use the quadratic formula to find any x intercept belonging to 2 decimal places. So your quadratic formula is x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of delta over 2a. Okay, this delta is b squared minus 4ac. We've already found delta is 8. So negative b, negative 8, which is plus 8, plus or minus square root of 8 over 2 times 8. 2 times 8 is 2 times 2, 4. So that's 8 plus or minus. Square root of 8 could be simplified as 2 root 2 over 4. It's just running to 2 decimal places, so you can just get this in your calculator straight away. 8. A shortcut for fraction is shift division sign. So that's your fraction template. So 8 plus 2 root 2, 2 root 2 over 4. Oh, make sure it's not in standard. Standard will not give you the decimal. You need to click on this one. Click it again. So 2.70. 2 decimal places 271. 2.71. So x equals to 2.71, or that's 8 plus 2 root 2. We have another one which is minus. So drag it down and go back. Use your stylus to click on here and delete it and minus. Click on exe again. 1.29. Okay. So 1.29. Here we go. We found the x-intercept. So I need to two decimal places. Next one. Use x equals to negative b over 2a to determine the turning point. Okay. This is your axis of symmetry. So x equals to negative b we found before, b is -8. So the coefficient of x is b, -8 over 2 times a. A is let's go back. I remember it's 2. Yeah, it's 2. 2 times 2. So minus 2 negative making positive. So 8 over 2 times 2 4 is 2. So your x coordinate is 2. So add x equals to 2, y equals 2. I'm going to substitute this x equals 2 back to this equation. Y equals to 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 7. Okay. So 2 times 2 squared, 2 times 4 minus 8 times 2, 16 plus 7. 8, 2 times 4, 8. 8 minus 16 minus 8 minus 8 plus 7 minus 1. So therefore, turning point equals to 2, -1. Okay. Hint, sketch the graph. Sketch the graph, we need turning point and axis, intersects. So first one, 7. And turning point is 2, -1. Over here. This 2 is too big. I'm going to write my 2 here. So here. That's your turning point. That's your x-intercept. And our y-intercept has been found here, 2.71 and 1.29. Oh, I made a big mistake. This is 2, -1. It's not -2. So 2 is here, -1 is here. Somewhere here, that's the turning point. And 2.71. So this is 2, slightly over 2. And 1.29 here. So that's your parabola. So this is right down your 2.71 here and 1.29 here. Okay. The turning point. Labeling all significant points. So that's why I need to label your intercepts and turning points. Significant points, turning points, intercepts. Okay. So that's 2, -1. All right. Last question. A piece of wire 80 centimeters in length is bent into a shape of a rectangle. Let x centimeters be the width of the rectangle. Okay. Every time when I'm doing application question, if I can draw a diagram, I will draw a diagram. So 80 centimeters, that's the perimeter of this rectangle. That just means a pair of length and width is 40. You divide this 80 by 2. 40 is for pair of length and width. X is the width of the rectangle. That's x. So this plus that. So this length plus this width is 40. So this length is 40 minus x. Okay, that's what I know from the question. Hey, use the perimeter to write an expression for the length of the rectangle in terms of x. Length is just 40 minus x down here. Length is 40 minus x. Write an equation for the area of the rectangle. So we A to represent the area. Area equals to length times width. So 40 minus x times x. Okay. C. Decide on the suitable values of x. A's area has to be greater than 0. Okay. So this 40 minus x, that's your area, has to be greater than 0. In your calculator, you can type it in bracket 40 minus x times x. So math 3 greater than 0. I didn't remember, the symbol. It's just you have a try. Click on math 2, 3, 1 has to be in one tab. The interactive, the math stuff. Okay. And x is 0 between 0 and 40. So x has to be greater than 0 and less than 40, which makes sense because your x can't be greater than 40. The total length for this set of length and width is 40. So there's no way this x could be greater than 40. Okay, D. Sketch the graph of A versus X for suitable values of X. So 0, between 40. We are talking about that one. Okay, so that's a parabola like that. This one, you could just use your calculator sketch. So menu, Untitled 5, was getting 40 minus x. So bracket 40 minus x, bracket times x. Take it. Right, zoom out. Yeah. And it's between 0 and 40. 0 is your, and 40 will be your intercept. So just something like that. And right in the middle, 20 would be your axis of symmetry. So when it's 20, you could use your calculator to find your maximum point analysis. So F maximum 220 and 400. Okay. Okay. So we worked it out. All right. And what about doing it without calculator? Okay. So if you expand this expression as negative x squared plus 40x. Okay. So 40x times minus x squared, which is minus x squared plus 48. We usually write square term, the term with square at the front. And that's minus sign, so it has been reflected in the x-axis. Okay, that's why it's doing that way. Use the graph to determine maximum area. So maximum area equals to 400. We've already got it. What about the units? Centimeter. Okay. So square centimeter. What will be the dimension of the rectangle at its maximum area? At its maximum area, your x, this is your x, and this is your area. Your x is 20. So x is 20. The length is 40 minus x, so that's 40 minus 20. It's 20. Therefore, the dimension is 20 by 20. That's a square. Okay. So feel free to replay your video. I talked through this fairly quickly, but you know your speed yourself. So please pause the video if you got you're not following, and send me email if you have any questions. Okay, I'm more than happy to help you or support you. All right. So thank you for your listening.